Supreme Commander Varix of the Galactic Trade Federation stared at the emergency reports flooding her neural interface, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with shades of deep violet, a sign of extreme distress among her species. The hundreds of trade routes connecting Earth to the rest of civilized space had gone dark simultaneously, without warning or explanation. "Run the numbers again," she commanded, her inner eyelids flickering rapidly as she processed the incoming data streams. The central AI core of the Federation's headquarters on Proxima Station hummed as it recalculated the economic impact of Earth's sudden silence. Analysis complete, the AI announced, its holographic projection showing cascading graphs of market collapses. Within one standard galactic month, 47% of integrated trading systems will experience critical failures. Human technology is too deeply embedded in our infrastructure for immediate replacement. Varix felt her secondary heart begin to beat, a physiological response her species developed for moments of crisis. When humans had first joined the Federation 3 centuries ago, no one expected them to become so essential. Their unique combination of creativity and standardization had transformed galactic commerce. Human tech wasn't always the most advanced, but it was the most adaptable, the most compatible across species barriers. "What about the colonial settlements?" she asked, bringing up a star map showing the dozens of human outposts scattered across Federation space. Her chief advisor, Krell, a crystalline being who had spent decades studying human behavior patterns, interfaced directly with the station's sensors. "All human colonies are maintaining normal operations, Commander. They're still trading, still functioning. They just won't communicate with anyone off-world." "A coordinated effort then," Varix mused. "But humans never coordinate on this scale. Their strength has always been in their chaos, their unpredictability." The Emergency Council chamber filled with representatives from the Federation's member species. The hive mind of the Zenturi buzzed with agitation, their collective consciousness projecting waves of concern. The silicon-based Petrons crystallized their worry into geometric patterns that floated in the air. Even the energy beings of the Lumini dimmed their usual bright glow. "The humans are preparing for something," announced Dr. Ixel, the Federation's leading xenoanthropologist. The ancient Arcturian floated forward, her gas-based form swirling with complex patterns. "I studied their history extensively. Humans only unite completely when faced with an existential threat." "But what threat?" Varix demanded. "Our long-range sensors detect nothing unusual. The known galaxy is at peace. Even the swarm wars ended decades ago." A junior analyst burst into the chamber, breaking all protocols. Their carapace was rattling, a sign of extreme agitation among the insectoid Crixix. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy signatures around Sol system. The humans, they're building something big." The holographic display shifted to show Earth's solar system. Where there should have been the usual chaos of shipping lanes and communication buoys, there was now a web of energy readings unlike anything in Federation records. The patterns defied known physics. "Those energy signatures," Dr. Ixel whispered, her gaseous form condensing in shock. "They're similar to the theoretical models for space-time manipulation we discovered in restricted human research archives. The ones their scientists claimed were purely theoretical." Varix felt her chromatophores shift to deep blue, the color of revelation among her people. She remembered a conversation with a human admiral years ago, during the trade negotiations that would integrate Earth's quantum computing networks with Federation systems. "The funny thing about humans," the admiral had said, smiling in that disconcerting way their species had, "is that we're always planning for the impossible. Because in our history, the impossible keeps happening." "Send probes," Varix commanded. "I want to know what they're building." The probes never made it past the outer edge of Sol's system. They simply vanished, as if that region of space had become something else entirely. The last transmission showed mathematical equations scrolling through space itself, like reality was being rewritten. In her private chambers that night, Verix reviewed historical footage of humanity's first contact with the Federation. They had seemed so primitive then, so eager to learn and trade. Now she wondered if that had been the greatest deception in galactic history, not through malice, but through preparation. The humans hadn't just joined galactic civilization. They had carefully, methodically, made themselves essential to it. And now they were doing something that should be impossible, something that required their entire species to work in perfect coordination. "Send a message to all Federation worlds," she commanded. "Priority Alpha. Earth hasn't abandoned us. They're protecting us from something. And whatever it is, it must be massive enough to make humans set aside all their differences. May the first stars help us all." As the message went out, Verix watched the last visual feed from Earth, showing a planet surrounded by impossible mathematics, preparing for something that had united the most divisive species known to the galaxy. The question wasn't if something was coming. The question was what could be so terrible that it made humanity reveal they had been capable of this level of unity and technological achievement all along. The Quantum Research Station at the edge of Andromeda's arm was considered the pinnacle of galactic achievement. Built by a consortium of the most advanced civilizations, it housed technology that could peer into the fabric of reality itself. Chief Scientist Raziel, a being of pure energy contained within an advanced containment field, had never seen readings like these before. "The anomalies are spreading," she announced to the Emergency Scientific Council. The holographic display showed waves of strange energy patterns rippling through space, all emanating from the direction of Earth's now-sealed solar system. Whatever the humans are building, it's affecting quantum fields across multiple sectors. Dr. Nix, the station's head of xenotechnology, manipulated the display with his 4 upper appendages, while his lower ones maintained contact with the quantum interface. "Look at these patterns. They're not random. The humans aren't just building a defense system. They're rewriting the laws of physics in their local space." The assembled scientists watched as another wave of readings came in. Across the galaxy, advanced technological systems were beginning to fail in seemingly random patterns. Quantum computers crashed, AI cores reported impossible calculations, and hyperspace routes became unstable. "It's selective," Raziel observed, her energy form pulsing with excitement. "The failures only affect systems that exceed certain technological thresholds, almost as if someone was testing defenses against highly advanced technology." The station's alert system suddenly blared to life. On the main display, a merchant vessel appeared, its hull covered in strange geometric patterns that seemed to hurt the eyes. The ship's captain, a silicon-based crystalline named Vextor, appeared on screen, his crystalline form clouded with distress. "We encountered something out there," he reported, his voice modulated through crystal resonance. "At the edge of known space. Our sensors couldn't make sense of it, but our AI managed to capture this before it shut down completely." The footage showed something massive moving through the void between galaxies. Not a ship, not a fleet, but something that defied classification. Where it passed, stars seemed to dim, as if something was consuming their very essence. "This is why," Dr. Nix whispered, his color-changing skin shifting to the deep purple of revelation. "This is why Earth went silent. They saw this coming." Raziel interfaced directly with the station's quantum core, analyzing the footage at the subatomic level. "The energy signature matches quantum fluctuations we've been detecting from Earth's direction. They've been preparing for this specific threat." A junior researcher, fresh from the Federation Academy, spoke up. "But how? Earth's official technology level was nowhere near capable of detecting threats at this scale. Unless they've been hiding their true capabilities," Raziel finished. "Think about it. Every major technological breakthrough humans shared with us was revolutionary yet just primitive enough to not raise suspicion. Their quantum computers were groundbreaking but crude by our standards. Their AI systems were effective but supposedly limited." Dr. Nix pulled up historical records of human technological development. "Look at the pattern. Every innovation they shared was carefully calculated to seem impressive but not threatening. They made themselves essential to galactic infrastructure while appearing to be playing catch-up with more advanced species. The station's long-range sensors suddenly detected new anomalies. The quantum disturbances around Earth were intensifying, creating patterns that shouldn't be possible in normal space-time. Whatever the humans were building, it was reaching completion. "Send word to the Federation Council," Raziel commanded. "The humans aren't just hiding. They're preparing for war. Not against us, but against something that frightens even them. And given what we've learned about their true capabilities, anything that scares humans should terrify the rest of us." As the message was transmitted, the station's AI core began calculating the true extent of human technological advancement based on the new data. The results were simultaneously fascinating and frightening. The species that had played the role of eager students learning from more advanced civilizations had actually been the masters all along. The question now wasn't whether humanity could face whatever was coming. The question was whether the rest of the galaxy was ready to see what humans could really do when they stopped pretending to be less than they were. In her private research chamber, Raziel reviewed one final piece of data, a message fragment from Earth's last transmission. "The darkness between stars is moving. Trust that we know what we're doing. We've been planning this for centuries." Deep within the Galactic Council's secure archives, Senior Archivist Zena Val worked frantically through the night cycle, her crystalline form glowing with increasing intensity as each new discovery confirmed her growing suspicions. 3 centuries of human technological submissions lay spread before her in quantum storage drives, and she was seeing them in an entirely new light. "Authorization granted. Final level access," chimed the archive's eye. The last security barriers fell away, revealing the complete historical record of humanity's integration into galactic society. What she found made her crystalline structure vibrate with shock. "High Counselor," she transmitted urgently to Council Leader Axon. "You need to see this immediately." Within moments, the Council's emergency chamber filled with the galaxy's most powerful beings. Axon, a being of pure thought and energy, manifested in the center of the room. "Speak, Archivist." Zena Val projected her findings into the shared consciousness space. Every technological advancement humans shared with us was part of a larger pattern. We thought they were random innovations, but look at them as a unified system. The assembled council watched as seemingly unrelated human technologies began connecting in complex ways. Their primitive quantum computers, when linked with their simple AI systems and their basic space-time manipulation theories, formed something far more sophisticated. "They gave us pieces of a puzzle," Zena Val explained, knowing we wouldn't see the full picture until it was too late. Their entire strategy was hidden in plain sight. A new alert flashed across the chamber's information field. The quantum disturbances around Earth had evolved into something unprecedented. The entire solar system was now encased in what appeared to be a shell of pure mathematics, equations written in space-time itself. "We're detecting similar structures activating across human space," reported Defense Coordinator Vix, his war form shimmering with tactical readouts. "Every human colony, every outpost, every seemingly abandoned research station, they're all part of a vast network." The Council's strategic AI calculated the implications. Analysis indicates humans have constructed a galaxy-wide defense grid. Each component appeared harmless in isolation. Combined, they form a weapon system beyond our current understanding. High Counselor Axon expanded his consciousness to encompass the new data. "Show us the earliest warning signs. When did this preparation begin?" Zena Val accessed the deepest archives. Their first contact messages. "We thought their obsession with science fiction was mere entertainment. But look at these themes. Invasion scenarios. First contact protocols. Planetary defense systems." They weren't creating stories. They were documenting their preparations. A message interrupt cut through the chamber's security protocols. Dr. Raziel from the Quantum Research Station appeared, her energy form barely contained. Council members, we've decoded more of the anomalous signals from the galactic edge. They're not random. They're a countdown. The chamber erupted in overlapping thoughts and transmissions. Councillor Axon restored order with a pulse of pure authority. Explain. The entity approaching our galaxy. It's happened before. Raziel continued. We found fragments in human historical records they thought we couldn't decode. They called it the darkness between. Their legend spoke of it consuming entire galaxies. Zenaval's crystalline form pulsed with sudden understanding. That's why they needed our technology too. They weren't just building their own defenses, they were upgrading ours. Every trade deal, every technological exchange. They were preparing the entire galaxy. The strategic AI's prediction shifted, revealing new patterns. The seemingly chaotic spread of human influence across the galaxy resolved into an intricate defensive network. Every human trading post, every cultural center, every diplomatic mission had been positioned with military precision. They turned our entire civilization into a fortress, Defense Coordinator Vix realized, and we helped them do it. In the deepest part of the archives, Zenaval found one final piece of the puzzle, a message buried in human cultural transmissions, hidden in plain sight. To those who find this, we saw it coming centuries ago. Every story we told about alien invasions, every movie about the end of the world, they weren't fiction. They were practice. When the time comes, remember, humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our paranoia. As the Council absorbed these revelations, new signals began emanating from Earth's transformed solar system. The equations written in space-time started to move, forming patterns that suggested not just defense, but attack. Humanity hadn't just built a shield. They'd constructed the largest weapon system in galactic history. And as the darkness at the edge of the galaxy grew closer, the question wasn't whether humanity's preparations would be enough. The question was whether the rest of the galaxy was ready to witness what humans could do when they finally unleashed everything they'd been hiding. The first attack came without warning. At the edge of charted space, an entire star simply vanished. Not exploded, not collapsed. Vanished, as if it had never existed. The quantum sensors of the Galactic Defense Network registered the impossible event, and for the first time in recorded history, every advanced civilization felt something they thought they'd evolved beyond. Primal fear. Admiral Exarchon of the Combined Fleet watched from the bridge of the supercarrier Eternal Light as the void between stars began to move. The darkness wasn't empty anymore. It was alive with shapes that shouldn't exist, geometries that hurt to look at, machines that seemed to be made of consumed reality itself. Multiple contacts, announced the fleet's eye. Entity classification, unknown. Scale, beyond measurable parameters. They're consuming space itself. The combined fleet, the most powerful armada ever assembled, represented the unified might of 1,000 species. Their weapons could shatter planets, their shields could withstand supernovas. Against these entities, they might as well have been throwing rocks at a black hole. The human defense grid is activating, reported Science Officer Lena, her psychic emanations tinged with awe. Across the galaxy, the true purpose of humanity's preparations revealed itself. Every human outpost, every trading station, every seemingly innocent installation began to transform. The equations surrounding Earth's solar system shifted, forming patterns that rippled through space-time. The mathematics itself seemed to come alive, spreading out like a web across the galaxy. Where it touched the invading entities, reality itself seemed to rewrite itself. Impossible, whispered Lena, her sensors overwhelmed. They're not just fighting the entities, they're changing the laws of physics in localized space. The humans found a way to weaponize mathematics itself. A transmission cut through all frequencies, originating from Earth's transformed solar system. The voice was human, calm, and determined. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. To all galactic citizens, stay behind the mathematical barriers. What you're about to witness was planned 300 years in the making. The darkness surged forward, consuming everything in its path. But where it met the human equations, something unprecedented happened. The laws of physics themselves seemed to reject the invaders. Space turned solid, time flowed backward. Causality tied itself in knots. They're not just preventing the entities from consuming reality. Lena realized her psychic abilities stretched to their limits. They're using the entity's own nature against them. Every attempt to consume space-time gets reflected back on itself. Admiral Exircon watched in stunned silence as humanity's true capabilities unveil themselves. The seemingly primitive species that had spent centuries playing catch-up with galactic civilization had actually been preparing for this moment all along. Their quantum computers weren't crude. They were purpose-built for this specific battle. Their AI systems weren't limited. They were designed to think in ways the entities couldn't predict. Multiple entity clusters approaching Sector 7, reported the Fleet Eye. They're being funneled. The human defense grid isn't just protecting space, it's hurting the entities. The mathematical barriers shifted, forming corridors of altered physics. The entities, drawn by the concentrated technology and energy of the combined fleet, found themselves trapped in spaces where their own abilities turned against them. Where they tried to consume reality, they found themselves being consumed by the very laws of physics they sought to break. But the battle was far from over. For every entity trapped or destroyed by the human defense system, more emerged from the void. The darkness between stars seemed endless, and even humanity's impossible mathematics couldn't cover every sector of space. Admiral Chen to Combined Fleet. The transmission came again. Phase 1 is complete. The entities are contained within predicted zones. Prepare for Phase 2. We're about to show you why humans spent 3 centuries obsessing over every possible way our civilization could end. As the combined fleet watched, Earth's solar system began to pulse with energies that defied comprehension. The mathematical barriers around it weren't just defensive. They were charging up for something more. Something that would either save the galaxy or tear it apart. In the depths of space, where reality met unreality, humanity's greatest gambit was about to begin. The question wasn't whether their plan would work. The question was whether the galaxy would survive seeing what humans could do when they stopped holding back. The fabric of space-time trembled as Earth's solar system, now transformed into humanity's ultimate weapon, began its final sequence. The mathematical barriers that had contained and redirected the consuming entities started to pulse with new patterns, equations so complex they made reality itself stutter. High Scholar Ven of the Galactic Science Council observed the unfolding events from the Quantum Observation Hub, her crystalline form vibrating with both terror and wonder. They're not just fighting the entities, she announced to the assembled representatives of surviving civilizations. They're about to do something that violates every known law of physics. Earth's transformed solar system began to move. Not through space, but with space. The entire system, encased in its shell of living mathematics, was pulling the very fabric of reality along with it like a massive net. The entities, drawn to the concentrated energy and technology, found themselves being drawn into a trap 3 centuries in the making. Message from Earth Defense Command. The Quantum AI announced. Admiral Chen's voice filled the observation hub. To all galactic citizens, what you're about to witness is why we spent centuries studying every theoretical physics paper, every crackpot theory, every wild imagination of what might be possible. The impossible is about to become necessary. The entities, vast and numberless, surged toward Earth's solar system, drawn by the promise of the richest feast they'd ever encountered. But as they approached, the mathematical barriers didn't just resist them. They began to fold space itself, creating a pocket universe of pure human design. They're not trying to destroy the entities, Ven realized, her scientific training struggling to process what she was seeing. They're going to trap them in a space where our physics don't apply, a prison of pure mathematics. The transformed solar system began to pulse with energies that shouldn't exist. Every piece of technology humans had scattered throughout the galaxy over centuries activated simultaneously. The seemingly primitive quantum computers, the basic AI systems, the crude space-time experiments, all of them linked together into something greater than the sum of their parts. Final sequence initiated. Admiral Chen's voice was calm despite the impossible energies being channeled. To the galaxy, thank you for trusting us, even when we couldn't tell you what we were preparing for. To the entities, you should have checked why the noisiest species in the galaxy suddenly went quiet. The mathematical barriers around Earth's system began to collapse inward, pulling the entities with them. But this wasn't a simple implosion. It was a controlled reconstruction of reality itself. The entities, drawn by their own hunger for energy and matter, found themselves trapped in a space where consumption was impossible, where the very laws they relied on were rewritten. They weaponized their own imagination, then whispered as understanding dawned. Every science fiction story, every wild theory, every dream of what might be possible, they were all test runs for this moment. The pocket universe sealed itself, trapping the entities in a space of humanity's design. The mathematical barriers that had protected the galaxy transformed into the walls of a prison that existed outside normal spacetime. The darkness between stars found itself contained by human ingenuity, locked away in a reality where its powers meant nothing. As the final equations settled into place, normal space began to restore itself. The consumed stars couldn't be brought back, but the threat that had terrified even the most advanced civilizations was contained. Humanity's greatest gambit had worked. Admiral Chen's final transmission echoed through the surviving communication networks. The entities are secured. The mathematical prison will hold them for as long as our equations remain true, which, given that we wrote them into the fabric of reality itself, should be quite a while. We apologize for the secrecy, but we needed the element of surprise. After all, humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to imagine the impossible, and then find a way to make it work. In the aftermath, as the galaxy began to rebuild, the truth about humanity became clear. They hadn't been primitive or behind the curve. They had been preparing, planning, working toward this moment from their first contact with alien life. Every technological advancement they shared, every cultural exchange, every seemingly random decision had been part of a vast plan to save not just themselves, but everyone. As Ven compiled the final reports for the Galactic Archives, she included a note for future generations. The humans had a saying, "Hope for the best, plan for the worst." They spent centuries planning for the worst thing they could imagine, and when it came, they were ready. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, not their technology or their mathematics, but their relentless determination to find a way to win, no matter how impossible the odds. The galaxy would never be the same. But thanks to humanity's paranoia, determination, and ability to imagine the impossible, it would continue to exist. And that perhaps was the greatest victory of all.